Welcome to the Real Estate Power Play Podcast, your launch pad for skyrocketing success in real estate investing. I'm your host, Gabe Rodarte, alongside Mark Monroe. We're ready to bring you transformative stories, groundbreaking strategies, and the insider secrets of real estate giants. Get ready to accelerate your investment journey and become a true power player in the world of real estate. Hey guys, what's happening? Welcome to the Real Estate Power Play Podcast. I'm your host, Gabe Rodarte, and today I get to share with you guys a good buddy of mine, Cole Babcock. Mark and I, what we've been doing lately as far as the podcast and what we're doing, you guys probably seen some of this, is just getting some people that are around the nation that are really making different types of transition from residential to commercial, maybe commercial to other types of commercial, creative financing, to other ways to really just increase during different market shifts and upgrades and stuff that's happening within their markets. So after hearing Cole's story, and I've known Cole for maybe 2 years, we've done some events together, and hearing a little bit more of his story, I wanted to get him on so that way he can share just really the positive side of what's happening as you make transitions in your business and you pivot and you add and you grow, and there's a couple steps back. And so I'm really pumped up because I've learned the other day some stuff I didn't even know just by a quick FaceTime with Cole. So Cole, how you been, man? What's happening?
Man, life is good. Life is good. It's been a good start to the year. Excited for what's to hold to come this year. Major growth opportunities are in store, and we're hitting the ground running. So excited to be here with you. Excited to dive in a little bit about what I'm doing, and as well as to learn a little bit more about you, and to see how we can make this a great podcast. So
Yeah. Well, let's jump into this.
yeah.
What's your story? I mean, you're 25, 26 years old. How'd you even find commercial real estate? Is this like you didn't go to school for this, did you?
No, so yeah, I'm 26 years old. I started when I was 19. Uh,
Wow.
I was doing some commercial. I had to have an internship to graduate college, and
Wow.
so I owned a lawn and landscaping company at the time. I got rid of it. I went in, dove head first into commercial real estate. I was actually as an intern as a startup company here in town, and two guys that were really emerging themselves in the commercial market.
Got it.
And so I started just doing the basics, right? Going to properties, getting the specs of the properties, putting them into a flyer, taking the pictures. So I was kind of
Wow.
the guinea pig for
Yeah.
doing all the rest of the
Yeah.
stuff.
You're kind of like the grunt.
Exactly, I was
Yeah.
100% the grunt, and I was building that brand and helping them get everything on the back end that they needed done to take their commercial business to the next level,
Hmm.
and to really get us like a staple in the community and in the market to say, hey, we're here and we're doing this commercial thing. And I did that for 2 years. I got paid next to nothing, and but I was learning so much, and I knew very quickly, like, hey, I was getting my brokerage license at the time, and I ended up getting my brokerage license at 20, and I started selling houses here and there, and I was doing really good job. I'm well known in the community, so I was selling houses, but the tedious aspect of it, the showings all the time, I quickly realized, I want to think and paint the bigger picture of what this
Yeah.
can be. And I love the commercial market of that. So another guy here in town, my partner Tim Buig, he came to me after almost 2 years of working with these other guys, and he said, hey man, like, you've got so much potential. I need a protege. I need somebody I can help me with this business, because I have all this work and I don't have anybody to help me with it.
Wow.
So he gave me a really good opportunity. I've been with Tim for 5 years now,
Wow.
and it's been the biggest blessing of my life. He's one of the best mentors, one of the best partners I could ever imagine of having. And now we're fully emerged in the commercial real estate market. We have mostly market share of our market in the Central Illinois area, and we're kicking butt. We're taking things to a different approach, where we still have our traditional brokerage, but we're focusing
Okay.
on acquisitions as well.
Got
He's a
it.
heck of a portfolio that I manage, and then me and him have a portfolio together that we manage. And
Got it.
and so super exciting. We're fully into this. We just launched a new company called Goshen Investments, which is our acquisition side of things, of our personal acquisitions.
I
And
like it.
we still have our brokerage portion, which we're growing immensely upon right now. So
Wow.
it's exciting. That's kind
Yeah,
of
you got a lot of things going on. You got a lot of cool stuff happening. So you make this transition, you get a hold of Tim. This is about 5 years ago. Um, for those who, so here's the crazy part is that, I hear your story and it just sounds like green lights the whole time, and all you're doing is doing an upward trajectory, and there's no setbacks, there's no nothing. You're just going 24/7, and you're running with guys that are 30, 35, 40 years old, been around for many years, and they have this experience, and they're like, sounds like what you're doing is saying, hey, look, I'm not being the grunt, but I can be the energy, I can be the work behind a lot of this stuff, I can roll my sleeves up. And it's something that we were talking about before. So what does that look like for you, just personally, like as you dive into this? And we're going to go more into some of the assets y'all of the type of properties that they're acquiring, what they're doing, but what does that mean for you personally as an individual, young leader? You have teams coming on, obviously there's areas where you still need to grow. What is something that's really highlighted to you in the last couple months?
sorry you cut out there.
I was going to say, what's something that's highlighted to you in the last couple months as far as like building out your team and realizing, hey, I don't have all the other pieces together, but I do have these one areas. What's something that's personally that's coming out to you lately that's just highlighted as far as your growth?
Yeah, so I mean, as you know, being in the business, and every broker knows this, it's it's a it's a lifestyle. It's
Yeah.
truly a lifestyle. If you're in this, you're really in it. And
Yeah.
and there's no turning away from that. You have to be committed, and you have to have, that workforce behind you. One of the things here in the last, year or so that I've realized is I can't do everything.
Yeah.
And I've been for the longest time, it's just been me and Tim. And I'm doing everything where, he's finding the deals, he's maintaining the relationships, and then handing everything off to me and like, hey, let's run with it. Let's get this to the finish line. Let's
Yeah.
get this done. And so something that's learned to me, I actually just recently read the book Buy Back Your Time by Dan Martell, and
Big.
what an impressive way to think about things, and what's something that really reeled me back in, because I can't do it all myself. You have to build a team around you. You have to be able to delegate work. And if you do it the right way, you can scale your business through the roof. So the last couple years has looked like, hey, let's build this team, let's build this structure, and if we do that, we can grow, we can focus. I know that personally, although brokerage is something that I love to do, I need to take pump the brake pedals a little bit
Yeah.
and allow my team to do what I brought them on to do,
Got it.
and allow myself to go do what really makes sense for my business and for our allocations and for the assets that we want to acquire, and to get to that goal, and to that try to build what we're trying to build here, right? And
Yeah.
it's been fun because we get to a different taste of things whenever it comes to the brokerage. We get the
Yeah.
opportunity to see, what kind of problems people have and how we get to solve them.
Yeah.
And if we're not on the same page of what that price is, well, let's go try to achieve what it is that price is. Let's go try to achieve what it is that you're looking for. And if we can't, we'll backpedal and we'll go find what we can get.
Yeah.
And the problem solving portion of it's great. I think that for me, the last year has just solely been, building the systems and building the people and putting the right people in the right place to make it all work smoothly, instead of
Man, I want to
killing
share. What's that? Instead of just you.
instead of killing myself day in and day out and doing
Yeah.
everything myself, knowing that I can't.
You said something. I love the phrase that you're saying, and I'm just really digging in because I really admire you, what you've been doing, man. I just think that's
Thank
awesome.
you.
I was adding it up this morning. I'm like, man, I'm almost 20 years older than you, and I'm like, holy moly! And the funny part is, the other day, when we're on that, when you're like, dude, get on FaceTime real quick, and I'm like, yes, okay, hear this, do this, do this. I'm like, holy cow, I forgot. I didn't even know we could do that. Um, you said something about allowing yourself. And I think that's a barrier for many people, as we build out our businesses and, And especially for guys who might have been out, build out for many years, and that your partner, Tim's an amazing man. Had great conversation with them, and he's like, man, this has been something for me that's an aha of going, wow, you bring on along somebody to partner with that can compensate for some of the things that you don't do or you're not great at doing, and you can really scale pretty quick. But you said something about the whole allowing yourself to delegate, allowing yourself to expand. Can you dive in a little bit deeper on that, on as far as like the real estate side of things? Like, what is the part where you're going, you know what, this was a barrier and I had to allow myself to just think bigger?
Yeah, it's hard, right? It's hard when you've been in the grind of this business and you're building the relationships yourself and you're building your listings a certain way and you're building your flyers a certain way and you have all of that control and you're keeping it to you.
Yeah.
And there comes a point in time where it's like, okay, if I really want to grow, I can't keep doing all these things. It's taking all my time, right? And
Right.
there's some kind of quote. It's better to get 80% of the work and focus on the 20 rather than the whole 100 and
Right.
giving that 80% away for somebody else to do. So it's been hard. I'm not gonna lie. It's been very hard for me, very recent in the very recent past, to give up some of those things, knowing
Wow.
that, hey, people are coming to me. They're like, hey, get this listed, get this listed, or hey, let's go look at this, let's go look at this. And my time is running thin, and I
Yeah.
have to focus on what I need to get to that next level for
Yeah.
me. And I know I can't do that without giving some of these things away.
Right.
And so putting the people in place to do that and then, teaching them, and it doesn't happen overnight, right? You want to give a task to somebody and them to do it exactly how you want to, but it takes time.
Right.
It takes persistence on saying, hey, no, this is how we're going to do it. This is how we're going to change it, but also giving them the freedom to run with it in their own way because you've hired them for a reason or they're here
Yeah.
for a reason. They're going to put their own twist on it.
Hmm.
Uh, I've always had the mindset of, nobody can do it as good as me.
Right. Right.
Nobody can get it done as quickly
Yep.
as nobody can be as efficient as I can. And that's just not the case. It's actually more
Yeah.
efficient for me to have those people in place to, hey, this guy answers all our emails, gets information out to people, and builds my flyers. And
Yeah.
the other agents who we've hired and we've brought onto our team to say, okay, I have 90% of the market's listings, and only a couple of them really able to put my whole time and effort into, right? So
Right.
deciding, hey, here's a group of these listings. Let's go take these. These are your listings now. Uh,
Yeah.
you know, these are your clients now. Build those relationships and follow up with them. And then if I can look at that and as a management perspective and just manage them, say, hey, give me the updates, keep bringing them to me. I'll help you through these processes. But then I get to focus on some of those bigger projects that I'm trying to work on. It goes much smoother, right? We're getting way
Yeah.
more done. We're getting more things to the finish line because I'm not keeping everything in my back pocket and like, no, these are my cards. I'm not showing them to anybody, right?
Yeah.
You've got to open up a little bit and have
Yeah.
faith that if you do that, you're going to scale a lot quicker. And it's not going to happen right away because
Yes.
you want all that money right away, but you have to give some of it away before you can reap the full benefits of that.
Yeah. Yeah, I think one of the things you're mentioning that I hear a lot, that there's definitely a resistance, and it just happens, especially when you have people leave your team, or you have people take your listings or take your deals or try to do whatever. Um, or, as far as the acquisition side, there's plenty of deals that you have that's off market, and you're going, man, I really need some support, but it's off market, and there's only a certain group of people you can trust with that, because it's off market. And we're not talking about, $300,000 listing. These are talking about closings, deals, investments that can easily be 10, $15 million transactions, and in 2 or 3 years from now.
That's exactly
But what
right.
ends up happening that you're mentioning that I really enjoy, you, and I'm glad we talking about it, because I don't think we talk about it enough, is really the power of building a team, right? And building the people around you. What is something that you've noticed about yourself about the last year and building a team in the commercial space and investing, that you've highlighted, that's like, what is one of your power strengths that you're like, man, I didn't know I was even great at this?
Um, Relationship building is probably that main thing that comes to mind. And it all started 2 years ago. when I met people like you, and I was in that commercial academy room, and I sat down and I see these presentations of what people are building, and I'm like, wait a minute, there's a bigger picture here. You had Mark Robinson on, and
Yeah.
Mark Robinson was one of the top brokers in Minnesota for so long.
Yeah.
And now he's taking a step away from brokerage to focus on the allocations because that's where he knows his next step in life is to build his wealth and to build what he's trying to build for him and his family and his team. So, seeing the stories like that over and over again and surrounding myself with like-minded people that can help me because I can't do it myself, right? I've got to
Yeah.
have that constant reminder that I have help and I have people that I can rely on to make that bigger picture, that dream or that goal become more of a reality and
That's
doing it
cool.
now. So I think the people portion of all of this is everything. Being able to surround myself with people who are in the position that I want to be in or are working towards being in the position that we both want to be in.
Yeah.
It helps. And then having people like that conversation the other night when we hopped on the Zoom call and we were chatting about things, firing things back and
Yeah.
forth to each other. Those are the kind of conversations we need to be having all the time to know, hey, we're not in this alone. We can rely on people to help us
Yeah.
get where we need to get.
Yeah. Yeah, man, that's awesome. And I would say, yeah, that's one of your strengths for sure. What is something that you're like, I want to get better at in this next season?
I'm full delegation mode right now,
Yeah.
focusing on how I can push off as much work as possible to help uplift the people that I've built and brought onto this team, because I have given them a look into what could happen, right? And so encouraging them and allowing them to take some of the things that that I would usually keep to myself or that I would just handle
Yeah.
and letting them take care of it so that they can learn. Not everything's going to be a home run, but it still is worth it if the people that you're surrounding yourself are getting fully immersed into what
Yeah.
it is that you're doing and you're trying to achieve. So delegation is by far the one thing that I'm working on this season more than anything
Wow.
is being able to give off work so that I can go and focus on, like I said, I've been on the brokerage train for so long now, and I love being the day-to-day broker, but I need to focus on a certain style of listing and a certain format of what I want to do. We're in the value added network.
Yeah.
We want to create value in places that we don't see that. And then allocations for myself. Our investment portfolio is thriving right now, and we want to continue to build that and bring partners on to do the same and help us manage those and to really grow that portfolio. I'm not somebody who has to have the whole piece of the pie, right? I want to bring somebody in that and keep just a portion of the pie. I'd rather have, 19% of this massive portfolio
Yeah.
than 100% of the entire portfolio.
Yeah.
We have to have people that we can help delegate and manage and do the construction and everything that comes along with the deal. So having the people in place that I can help uplift and we can learn together and go through the motions together, it's important.
So that's really good. And by the way, I just wanted to like say that was most people don't even get there. I think this is like one of the biggest barriers, especially because there's finances involved. You got to pay people somehow through this process.
Right.
They're not all sales agents, right? Not everyone's just out there being the deal hunter. And then while they're learning to be the deal hunter, you're training them up through that process. So to scale, you have to delegate. You have to go and this is just how we learn how to do things is delegating, building team and really having the values of your team instilled within your team. You're growing it, you're building it.
It's
I do
important
like,
to find one of the things that I keep reminding myself is some people have what I call the it factor,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
You either have it or you don't. And
yeah,
if you have it, we can build upon that
yeah,
and we can continue to grow this. Um, but yeah, it's important to make sure that you're surrounding yourself with those people that can get the job done.
yeah,
Um, but that you can also say, hey, here's a task. Um, you don't know everything about it. Go try to figure this out.
yeah,
My partner and mentor, Tim, Yeah. The first week that I went and worked for Tim, I went into his office and I said, so what's next? I sat down, I'm like, what's next? He's like, fake it till you make it. And I'm like, what did I just do? I left my job. I'm sitting in front of this guy who promised me the world and he's telling me to fake it till I make it. And I realized it was a push for him to me to see what I could do and how far I would go to do it.
Right.
Right. And so that's what I'm trying to encourage others to do. It's like, hey, if you really want this, get on the phones, send out the emails, go
Yeah.
work those listings. You can't just let them sit there, right?
Yeah. Man, that's really good, man. And one of the things that I even for our team and what we do, and even like the investor side, we came like I've done residential for 12, 15 years almost, of just from flipping to buying to holding. We just picked up another smaller, like a triplex basically, because it's available and I was able to buy it. So, I mean, we still do that. And one of the things that I hear a lot is, man, what's the next step? Like, what do I do next? Um, and I just remember a story whenever I was younger and someone pretty much told me the same thing. It was like, listen, if you really want something, you got to go figure out how to go get it. Like, I can only teach you to this amount, but I can't do the work for you.
Right.
Yeah, I can't do the rest of it. And so that's one of the areas that I think everybody should grow on and can improve on. And I think that's also one of the key things of a leader is to really bring that out of someone if they have it there and kind of dust it off, polish it off a little bit because there's something there. That's leadership skills. But in as far as like the commercial space, it's a pretty it is a Wild West type of world, right? It's not just somebody moving in and moving out of a property as a house. This is you got to get creative in a lot of aspects of things. So I really do appreciate you saying that because I think it's something that we all need to hear.
Absolutely.
Um, let's go towards some of these the commercial aspect of things, your acquisition. How are you guys doing it? What are you doing? What's been happening? And then what's the freshest thing right now that you're like, man, Gabe, this is what we're working on.
Oh man, so much, so much. We're still full swing on the commercial brokerage side.
Okay.
So we're bringing in. I just actually a new agent started for me this week. His name's AJ Spiesel. He was a broker at SVN, which is a
Oh,
national
cool.
brokerage.
Okay.
And for those who don't know, I work for a little company called View Commercial Real Estate, and it's based out of Central Illinois, Indicator, and we're a small team, a small brokerage in that. We've scaled so much in the last couple of years of the way we've done things, and
Wow.
we've thought bigger. And last year we were able to do almost 100 million in production just in Central Illinois.
Wow.
And then, as we've been doing that, we've been able to grab people along the way to say, hey, we need help. Come and help us. So still fully working on the brokerage side, bringing in the bigger deals, trying to list and sell the commercial deals, but then on a whole nother side, working on the acquisition side. So working with investors. You guys know Rafik. Rafik is one of my
Oh, we just had him on the other day. Actually, 2 days ago, I think. Yeah.
Really? He's
Yeah.
man, what a blessing he's been in my life because he's
Yes.
one of my biggest mentors. I talked to him today. We had a 30-minute conversation this morning where he was giving me those little tidbits of wisdom that I needed.
Philosophical slash application and like do it now. Yeah.
Exactly. He's
Yeah.
so good at it, and he's built this in a way unlike anybody else. And he having those mentors that you can bounce things off to and bounce those things off of, and then have them push you to do better and better and better is super important. So with him, we're trying to build, a great portfolio. And I work with a couple of different people like Rafik to go and say, hey, Cole, we've acquired this acquisition. I've got one up in Peoria, Illinois. We've acquired this acquisition. It's 92,000 square feet of vacant retail strip center,
Wow. Wait,
and
90 what?
92,000 square feet vacant
Jeez.
of 162,000 square foot strip center. And it's got two national tenants in it. That's the only tenants that are in it.
Okay.
And we are working to take that from an unperforming asset that hasn't been on the market in years to a performing asset. And if we do that the right way, then there's more skin in the game for me, right? It shows that we can go and take these
Wow.
assets from underperforming to performing. So that's what I'm focusing on. Now there's a whole other side of it where Tim and I are trying to acquire. So we're working on some big projects right now. We've got a 250,000 square foot retail strip center that we are working to get closed on.
That's cool.
It'll be an acquisition of probably all in closer to that $7-8 million. And in 2 to 3 years, it'll be worth 25 million at a 9 cap.
Wow.
Yeah,
Jeez.
one of the biggest deals I've gotten to work on today, to date, and that's going to be
How
a
many?
great.
That's a full. That's not just a strip center. That's a freaking compound, dude. That's
Yeah,
multiple center. That's like multiple strips.
it is. It's a great. It's an L-shaped center,
Got
uh,
it. Okay.
and
That's huge, dude.
it's on a huge. It's on a huge. It's on the main road in and out of town. Um, and it's a great asset. It's going to be a great asset for years to come.
You know,
So
one of the things you mentioned the other day, and I want to share this, is that there's money to be made in all markets, as far as like economy wise, but then also all markets geographically. And one of the things you taught me is like, hey, Gabe, look at these other markets, look at some other things besides the places. We tend to always look at our backyard. I'm in Houston, Texas. We go up to Dallas. We do Dallas stuff. We do some stuff in San Antonio with some guys, we're doing some development type stuff. And then all the way down like to Galveston, which is probably an hour and a half, 2 hours south of where I'm at, depending on the day. So Houston's a big metro area. It has everything, but there's a lot of growth here. One of the things you've helped highlight, and then you're sharing about like how you've learned how to be the hub for multiple areas, is to even look at these secondary markets. I can't imagine that you're buying an $8 million, like $250,000 or square feet for $8 million in a peak prime, like in the middle of the core areas. You're looking for stuff in these, like you're looking for a needle in the haystack.
bingo. The secondary markets and the tertiary markets that's where I thrive. And it's not for everybody. Some people are completely different stages of life than where I'm at.
Yeah.
And that's completely okay. I
Yeah.
personally, I like these secondary markets. I like the trenches. I like to go and really work for these deals. But to find deals, there's deals out there that have bulletproof basis no matter where you're at. And
Yeah.
if you can, as long as you
Let's
have,
go there. What is a bulletproof basis? What is that?
well, I mean, so take for example, I had a guy call me yesterday, and he owns a prime piece of real estate here in Decatur,
Got it.
and we've been calling him, and I kept pitching him as the broker side. I'm like, yeah, we can list this for 1.5 million. We're probably gonna get it. And he's like, Cole, stop trying to sell me on this. What will you buy it for? What will you buy it for? I want to know that I have a deal and then I can get
Right.
to the finish line. Like, I'll give you 600. I'll give you 600 and we'll close quickly. And he's like, you've got a deal.
Wow.
That property appraised this morning for one.
Oh, it just
So
went out. The screen just went out. Right. What did it appraise for?
the property appraised at 1.5 million.
Oh, wow.
So there's what's a little over 700,000 in equity immediately there. So that's what I mean by bulletproof. I bought a gas station at the end of last year, and this property hadn't been paid attention to in years. The guys that Valero owned it, completely forgot about it, and I called him like, "Hey, you guys have had this sitting here for years. Let's get this off your books." He's like, "I would love to get this off my books. What will you pay for it?" And I'm like,
Wow.
"I'll pay you 30 grand." And so and then he's like, fine, done. Let's pay 30 grand for it. I'm under contract on it now for 349,000. We're gonna make, a little over 300
Wow.
grand in 8 months. And yeah, it's not those massive numbers that we are used to
That's
hearing,
pretty good. I mean, the
but
return is like 100. I mean, that's a 10x return. Dang.
300 grand is more than 99% of the people make in a
No,
year.
that's good money. I mean, it's call it what it is. That's
It's
really
great.
good money for the investment. You imagine how much people have to spend on if we have a lot of people that listen to residential and single family and creative finance, and 30K gets you so much, but it's not going to get you $390,000 or $60,000 at the end of a 6 month cycle.
Right.
Typically doesn't happen that way.
No, but when it goes back to that bulletproof basis, it's
Got it.
something that you have faith in a property to take it from where it is at that point in time and what you're buying it at, and your numbers are so solid and you have your evaluation to where if I do this with rents, I do this with capital expenditures, and I can exit for this number. And that's what creates a bulletproof basis. It's the research, but it's also having faith in yourself that you can go and take this from an underperforming asset and make it performing. One thing that I look for, especially very recently, is how can I get into something? And I look at the market that I'm in, and I look at it as a whole, and I say, okay, this is the average rents that they're getting. If I buy this, can I undercut rents by $3-4 a square foot to get somebody in the door, build that relationship with them, build a long-term relationship, we sign a longer lease, and then over the course of that term, get those terms to where they need to be for an exit, right? Instead of buying the asset and then immediately trying to get market rate. No, I want to help the community. I want the community to thrive.
Yeah.
And I want the tenants that are coming to me to say, hey, this is a great deal. I can get in this. I don't have to worry about whether my feet are going to get taken out from under me or if this doesn't work, because I have opportunity here as well. And that's what it's all about. So that's one of the biggest things whenever I'm looking for that bulletproof basis is going into the asset thinking, okay, how can I help the tenant? How can I make this the most attractive for my prospective tenant or my prospective buyer?
Yeah, and the other thing that you're mentioning, and this thank you for clarifying that. One of the things you're mentioning is really you're looking at assets with multiple exit strategies, right? You're like, okay, I have this strategy, and bulletproof basis is basically, or you're getting it at a certain amount of value add that the tenants that are currently in there are already offsetting the cost also. So you know where you're at. You're not just dropping $20,000, you're going negative 20K a month. I think that scares a lot of people when it comes into commercial, like, oh my gosh, this building. I was underwriting a deal with a friend of ours, and I think you know him. He's through some of the people that we know. And I go, hey, act like, instead of acting like this is a commercial property, because it was only like, it's like a 700, a sub $1 million deal. I go, just act like this is a really cool house. I'm like, oh, I guess that's a different one. If it's a really cool house or a multifamily, maybe 4 units, how would you underwrite it then? Well, then I would do this, this, and this. I was like, okay, that would work. That same strategy works. Sometimes we get overwhelmed going, man, this is like 15,000 square feet. Like, who would ever be in something like that? Because you're kind of distant from it. And I think it's a blessing of guys like you who've put tenants in buildings like that before, going, I know a guy, or I put somebody in, or I know that the desire in the marketplace. What would you advise someone who doesn't have those tools? Like, they don't have the coal in their back pocket that they need to connect with, that knows, hey, I know what's over there and I know what this could go for. How do you even find bulletproof if you don't know the value of it?
Yeah, I mean, immerse yourself, continue to learn and to get yourself so infiltrated into the market that you start to develop those traits. You've got to think bigger, you got to think creatively. And I would advise to go and find somebody that you connect with on a level that you haven't with any other broker or with any other mentor, and let them be the guide to say, hey, if you put your faith in with me, and you have to, it takes time. It's not like, hey, I want to buy this property, let's start working together, right? You know, you need to build that trust and that relationship with somebody so that not only you know that you're working with the right person, that they know they're working with the right person.
Yeah.
I want to be somebody who, whenever I go and develop a new relationship, that they leave that meeting, they're like, okay, I can see that this guy's serious and that he will do right by my business and will help me get the assets and the opportunities that I need for my portfolio. But I want to touch on something that you said too,
Yeah.
because not every deal that I've done is not great. I mean, I've had my fair share of crap, and I'm going through a situation right now where I have a 62,000 square foot big box retail facility that was a former grocery store. It's on 6 acres, and we bought it at 1.9 million. And it was about 12 months ago we bought it, and I'm still sitting on it vacant today. Now I
Wow.
have a lot more traction in it. I've put a lot of money into it, and I've had to carry those costs. So it does happen, but knowing that, hey, okay, I still bought it at a good basis. It's going to take me a little bit longer, and that's what happens in these secondary and tertiary markets. You sometimes you have to account for holding on to something a little bit longer for the right tenant to come. Now we're negotiating 3 or 4 different leases at 550 to 650 a square foot, and it's gonna, be a $4.5 to $5 million exit.
Yeah.
But we had to go through a lot of shit to get there because
12
that
months.
62,000 square feet isn't cheap to keep the lights on for 12 months and
Yeah.
to keep the HVAC going and to keep everything and working in good order. So that's
Man,
how I got it.
that is also an eye-awakening moment. I think that's the part that probably makes most people nervous, is going, what about if it doesn't work? How do I do this? And you don't have to start off like swinging for the fences all the time. I mean, Cole's pretty experienced, 7 years in the business, and as a broker side, I think that's something else that as I grow more into that broker team and our team, the agents and everyone who's bringing deals to us, or that we just see through the door. Someone's looking for a piece of property, or they're looking for a lease space, and we can sift through and see what the market is needing. I think that's super key, and something that you mentioned, like, you got to find someone that you can connect with and build a relationship with. It takes time.
The relationships in this business mean everything. The relationships that I have at Commercial Academy mean everything. When I go into having a conversation with a new broker, I want to line out exactly what my values are, exactly the person that I'm striving to be and why. And if you approach that, and I learned this from Rafiq, if you approach every relationship and every deal with absolute integrity, humility, and honesty, people are going to see that and they're going to know, that's the person I want to work with, or these are people that I can trust to either get to the finish line, to get me to the finish line, or for them to not just be messing around and trying to take advantage of the situation, right? I'm a broker, and sometimes brokers are a little standoffish to other brokers, especially when we're in the same market.
Yeah.
I go to them, I'm like, listen, I'm not trying to infringe on your business. I just want to do more business together. Actually, it's funny because I was texting 2 guys here in my sphere, and I was at one of the places downtown for dinner this week, and they both came in. It was one of my biggest competitors and a guy that we both do business with. And
Wow.
they came up to the bar and they're like, I was getting ready to order dinner, and they were like, cool, why don't you come sit with us? And we sat there, we had a great dinner together, me and my competitor, and then this guy that we both do business with. And afterwards, we all go home, and I get a text from the guy who we both do business with, and he goes, I respect how the 2 of you can hang out and put the competition aside. And you're both in a competitive industry, and the market's challenging, and that says a lot about your guys' character. And the other agent said something that I'll never forget. Backstory, this other agent who's my competitor was my first mentor. He's the first person that I worked for.
Oh my gosh, that's
He was the
awesome.
guy that I was the intern for, right? And he sent a text message in there, and it was the last text message that was sent in this group chat. It said, competitors compete, leaders collaborate.
Yeah, I love it.
Man, it just came to me. I'm like, it's not about trying to be the best in the market, or trying to do the most deals, or trying to have the most production every year. It's about collaborating with other people who can help you get to where you want to be.
Man, I love that. And I love I love collaboration. I just love connecting with people. This is why we do the podcast. I've been doing the networking events for many years. It's something that just energizes me. I love connecting with people. I've seen some of the craziest deals happen based off of collaboration, off of competitors. And it's kind of like that thing. I don't know if like, where that guy that you got in a fight with, and you're like in freaking 6th grade, and you're like whatever, and you're on the playground or whatever, and you get in an argument with them, whatever. And then like by time you're in 10th grade, you guys are best buddies, and you're hanging out, and it's like whatever that, man, remember, yeah. And you just became, it's kind of that same thing as like, life is a long process. Like, sometimes I joke around with people, but it's kind of true. It's like sometimes the days are longer than the years, where you can look back over the year and you're going, man, I can't believe I did that. But the day is, it's a day. I mean, you're in the moment. You got to grind it out. You're going to make your calls. You're going to do your work. You have your relationships, your friendships, everyone to connect with. It feels like a long process.
And if you do it the right way, then when you exit that, or whenever you are looking back on it, you remember how you couldn't have done it yourself. You
Oh
had
yeah.
to have those people in your lives. And if you would have approached it the way you probably wanted to, then none of this would have ever happened.
Never would have happened. And that's one of the things that I admire about you. You're really big at collaboration. I know you've learned this from a lot of your mentors and the people you've had around. What is something that you can advise, maybe not a younger investor or younger commercial guy, but just newer to, as far as age wise, but just newer, that you've been helping people through your clients and then the people that you've been around and us. Um, what is something that you would say in this market where we are, that you would say, hey, look, this is something that I would go do? Um, it could be a tool or a tactic, or like maybe some advice that you would give them if they're 1 or 2 years into commercial space.
Well, one, I wear this bracelet. It's called Powered by Faith. I
Awesome.
have faith that everything's going to work out exactly the way it's supposed to. I give it all to him. And with that, I know that no matter what happens, I come out of it saying good, because whatever bad happens, there's good to come out of it. And the reason I say that is because people are going to take advantage of you. People are at some point in time, you're gonna build a relationship with somebody, and
Yeah.
it's gonna be salty, and they're not gonna have the same values that you do, and that's okay. Learn from it and move on, because as you pick those people out, you start holding, but don't. So my advice would be, don't hold your cards so close to your chest, because you don't want everybody to see what you're playing, but in reality, you have to have those people. So that's something that I learned. I've always kept my cards close to my chest. Tim's always kept his cards close to his chest. And in the last 2 years, last 2, 3, 4 years, we've had to open up a little bit more and not be afraid to go and ask those people for the money, for the capital,
Wow.
relationships, for the help that I need on certain properties. Hey, you know this a lot better than I do. Can you please help me with this? And give them something in return. But building my advice is to not rely and do everything yourself, but allow other people to help you get to where you want to be, because in the end, again, you can't do it all yourself. It's impossible, and you're just going to keep.
And I just I love how you're approaching this, because it sounds like you've had things do get salty, right? And
Absolutely.
they get pretty rough. You have some assets, and I'm glad you're sharing that with our listeners and just with me too, of going, hey, look, not every deal turns out to be like a slam dunk. And that's interesting, because I do have clients that I work with. I'm going to go do some stuff with some clients up north from here. And I remember what they have, we have about $8 million of listings that we're about to bring to the market. And he was looking at me and he goes, Gabe, I've never lost on a deal before, ever. Like this deal here, this is a little weird, but I think I could get. And he was working so hard to get himself out of not losing. And I'm going, you've been in the business for 35 years and you're telling me you never lost on a deal. So that also lets me know risk level too. Like everyone has their own risk level of saying, I don't ever want to lose. This is how it's going to be. So you might not be a fence swinger, right? Where you're out there just swinging as hard as you can. I heard a thing on a show the other day that was saying, hey, the dad was shouting out to his son. He's like, swing real hard just in case you hit it. Like if you do hit it, swing hard. But not everyone else like swings hard like you, Cole, right? And so not everyone's out there going and saying, hey, I want to go this hard. There's many people that are saying, this is my risk tolerance, I'm cool with this. I do find that guys like you and I, the value add people, you have to have some guts, right? You might not get all the way back home, but you might get on second base,
Man,
right?
sixth base and first base is still a great feeling. And I did a deal last year where I was so happy to break
That's
even.
awesome. I love it that you're so pumped up.
I was
First
so,
base is exciting.
oh, it is because we have to have those lessons, and we have to look back and say, oh man, if I would have done this part of that deal just a little bit differently, it would have been a completely different outcome, right?
Yeah.
but you're not gonna get to that completely different outcome unless you go through those hard trials
Yeah.
and you do some of those shitty deals. Pardon my language. But the again, and sometimes you go into a deal or into a situation thinking, oh, there's no way this could go bad. There's no way this could go bad. And then you get thrown a curveball and something that could have been completely unexpected. 2008, for example, or
Yeah.
COVID, for example, right?
Yeah.
It came out of nowhere and people got their asses handed to them because of
Yeah.
it. But how you overcome that and
Yeah.
back on the saddle is what's gonna, uh, in the end, make the biggest difference in your portfolio and in your personal life. And I think if you again approach that with integrity and humility, and then every deal will work out the way it's exactly the way it's supposed to.
I love I really do love the fact that you're like, hey, listen, guys, first base feels good. I tell my kids, I'm like, hey, winning feels better than not losing. Like you can play to not lose,
Right.
right? And you'll do okay, and you'll play to not lose. But man, winning feels really good, you
That's
know.
us.
And I had a base hit. I was actually which is talking with Saul this morning actually, and we're doing this case study of one of my properties, and he's like, "Man, this was like a really good base hit type deal. It was one of my first mobile home park I ever bought. So like none of it was out of my pocket, and I've explained it many times on this show, and but it was such a really cool first base hit. Right. And it was such like entry into commercial and how I acquired the whole thing was like, it fired me up to go, wow, there's people say yes to this type of stuff. Right. And then how we exited wasn't perfect. It was kind of like I joke around with people, and I don't know if you've seen the movie Forrest Gump, but like I've I've Forrest Gumped my way through most of my commercial life. And that's pretty much how I call it. It's like
Haven't we all?
yeah, I just like figured it out and just ran and then just made it kind of work. There wasn't like a path that I chose. It was just, I know I need to be over there. So I really appreciate that. What's something that you can kind of, and I want to wrap, really want to honor your time because dude, I know you're running. What is something that you would share with, um, kind of like the other Cole, right? The one that might be, not even knowing that there's opportunity here. Is there like a step process that you now would be, you know what, if there was a 20-year-old me, what would I help him? Like, these are the first two, three things that you should, is it mindset? Is it growth? Is it network? Is it skill?
Mindset. It's faith. If I could tell my 20 year self not to go out and party and do the dumb shit that I was doing at that point in time,
Yeah, me too. I want that one too.
I would go back and tell him that. But have faith in God, man. I owe it all to Him, and along with that, to just be intentional about the person you want to be. And with that, if when you're genuine and you're intentional, people see that and they want to help you. And I would tell him to be a sponge. Don't act like you know everything. Don't go in every deal like you know
Yeah.
everything. Go and work with the people that you can learn from at a high speed rate,
Mm.
and just continue to grow and grow and grow and grow. But first and foremost, I tell him to sit back, slow down, and enjoy life. But also have faith that everything is happening the way it's supposed to for a reason, and
Wow, man.
be okay. That's what I would tell him.
That's awesome, dude. I'm really excited for you, dude. I'm really proud of you. I've seen your growth just in a few years. I've seen you grow not just in business, but personally, the conversation has changed.
Yeah,
And that
has a
takes
lot.
a lot of humility and many apologies throughout that process of going, I don't know this one. Or I shouldn't have done that. Or I thought I was right. And, we went and did this and now we are, or whatever it has to do with business. And we made this decision. And I think that's something that I see in you a lot going forward is the characteristic of your growth. I don't know if anyone can grow the way you have, and then what I've done in the last year and a half without having this huge dose of humility, because it is a continual process of going, I'm not there yet. I want to grow myself. I'm going to work on myself. There are many things I don't know. And you have this great gift, and I think that's something that I would add to you, and can kind of, in just sharing that I've seen you, is you have a great gift for talking with people. But I think this last couple of years, the dose of humility that you've had has increased so much that it's almost parallel to your growth cycle. And and I see it anywhere in the world, it's always the same thing. The more humility someone has, the quicker they grow. So I see that in you, man.
I thank you. And Gabe, I look up to you as well. You know, we've only known each other for a short period of time. We're building an awesome relationship here that's gonna for years to come, and I can't wait to collab with you on very many things. I look up to you. I can't wait to see where you go with your brokerage and your business and your investments. Sky's the limit. We're gonna do this together and
Let's
continue
do
to
it.
put each other's and stuff off of each other, and let's continue this amazing relationship and
Let's
grow
do it, man. Let's do it. All
faster.
right, guys. How do we get a hold of you? If we're in Central Illinois, how do we, or yeah, Central Illinois, right?
Central Illinois, I service the Midwest, so St. Louis, Indiana, Chicago, and then anywhere in between. That's kind of my focus right now.
Okay.
Um, yeah, you can get on my website or my socials. You can put those on the screen if you want to. But socials, the website, and then my phone number is 217-433-0839. That's my personal line. Anybody can call me at any time.
Wow. Okay. You're awesome, man. Hey guys, thank you so much for joining the show. Please like, share, post. If you have any questions for us, reach out to us. We're easily to be accessible and help you grow your business. We'll talk to you guys later. Peace.
Thank you, Gabe.